away from voter protection. And I know Four Directions has been, for the past several years, heavily involved with the Remove the Stain Act. Can you tell us a little bit, it's definitely a deviation from what Four Directions does, but can you tell me why Four Directions has taken this on and is still pushing it, and why is that so important to our Native people?
Well, it's historical trauma. We got into this to empower our people, empower tribes. But what gives empowerment if you see an injustice and don't take some type of action towards it? So we got into it because the former president actually tweeted basically talking about another individual having a beer at Wounded Knee. It was like he never knew that this was a massacre. And so we actually wrote him a letter and we explained everything to him and asked him, well, now that you know about this massacre, you need to consider removing those medals. And they never responded. We wrote the president, the vice president of defense, we wrote the secretary of defense, we wrote to the Senate Affairs, or excuse me, the Armed Services in the House and in the Senate. Nobody answered us. And so when we had a forum again back in 2019 in Sioux City, Iowa, we had tons of candidates coming in. So all right, we're going to light this up, and we had every candidate answer the question whether they would support removing those medals. We've been going at this for 6 years.
Maybe for the audience, you can explain exactly, because some may not understand what happened up in Wounded Knee and why the medals were given. Just maybe just a brief back story on that.
Yeah, back in, I believe it was December 30th in 1890, there's Chief Spotted Elk was coming from the Cheyenne Indian Reservation down to Ogallala because there was a kind of inner turmoil, so he brought him down to Wounded Knee. And on the way down there, they ran into the 7th Cavalry. And they had a white flag, so the cavalry said, okay, and they escorted them into the Wounded Knee area. And while they were there, the next day they said, okay, we're going to take all your weapons. And they actually took all their weapons. Now, some say, oh, geez, there was a shot that rang out, and so that started the fight. But they used Hotchkiss guns, 50 millimeter cannons that dispersed rounds. They killed over 350 unarmed men, women, and children. General Miles, who was in charge of it at that time, said it was the most horrific massacre he's ever seen. He was a Civil War general. And what he described was having seen children with gunpowder burns on their skin, women that had their babies with them that had gunpowder burns on them that were shot. You had to have that contact in order to kill them. And from that, they awarded 20 medals of honor to those soldiers that committed that massacre, those men, women, and children. And the descendants have been fighting for it since the day of the massacre, arguing about those medals. We have gotten to the point now where we have used our political voices and our because of the tribes participating in voting, we have gotten Congress to direct the Department of Defense to do a review. So at this time, while we're talking, we have 3 people from the Department of Defense and 2 people from the Department of Interior reviewing the records of that horrific day where they massacred these men, women, and children to possibly remove these medals. And so to us, that is a great victory that we've been fighting for 133 years. Now we have a chance to have those medals removed.
Yeah, thank you for that background. So that's always difficult to hear because a lot of our relatives and stuff had died there. And what's mind-boggling to me is, the Battle of the Little Bighorn, Wounded Knee. I mean, you and I were born less than 70 years after the Little Bighorn and about 60 years after Wounded Knee. It's not ancient history, right? These are events that really ring true historically for us, and we've known our relatives that have either lived through it or whose parents or grandparents have lived through it. It's still very, very much a very difficult and a very traumatic event that affects our generations today. Before we wrap it up, Odile, talk to us a little bit about what's up next for Four Directions. I know you mentioned the Montana lawsuit, but what else is on, especially after the elections, what is on Four Directions' horizons?
And again, we take and try to get natives to participate in the voting, not just because of an election, but after an election. If you look at what we did by the way, 2020 was the highest Native vote turnout throughout the United States. And from that, we have, a Secretary of Interior who is a female Native. We have so many bright, brilliant Natives within the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Some of them are former tribal chairmen. And so, it's not just of getting that vote out. It's finding our young people and getting them into offices like banking within the Senate, getting them into different federal agencies, so that a lot of these federal agencies do not know tribes exist. And so we're also working on getting our tribal members, not just Rosebud, but all tribal members throughout the country, to start getting involved in federal agencies, to start working for them, because that's when they can start teaching them what our real issues are and what our sovereignty and our traditions are.
Great. Well, I think we're out of time. Now we are officially.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you and for Four Directions. I think on behalf of Indian country, our tribes, our families, all the folks down here, thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for your tireless efforts on behalf of our Native people, on behalf of those people who can't do it by themselves, and really for bringing Native people together under circumstances that would benefit all of us. And for that unification, that real unifying work that you do, and for helping expand our sovereignty by using a tool that this government gave us, that we can better ourselves, better protect our homelands, and better protect who we are, so our nations can expand and not contract, our lands are protected, and we can be full participants in not just our tribal elections, but like you'd said, the state, federal, local elections. So thank you.
Well, one thing real quick, I forgot, people that run for the Congress, people that run for Senate, it's not, tribal will support whatever candidate that the local tribes support. But you also have to remember that once they get into Congress, they also have that look at our treaties and our sovereignty. So they may be elected in Arizona, but their decision can also affect South Dakota, it can affect Nevada. And so that's why we always want to work with tribes, because whoever gets into office sooner or later is going to affect all tribes. And so that's why we want to show our support on who you decide to elect. So thank you.
Thank you.
Got time for a break? Okay, actually, wow, this first time happened a long time on schedule. Okay. Why don't we go ahead and take a break, and then we have Mr. Jeff Zink, that will come on at 11:30. He is a candidate for Arizona District 3 Congress, and we'll spend some time visiting with him, but let's go ahead and take a short break, maybe. And I say 15 minutes, knowing in a half hour I'm going to have to find you. 10? 5? All right, you just got told 5, so now, yeah.
Are you seeing my audio? Or it doesn't even show that yet? Hey, hey, test 1, 2. Hey, hey. Oh, he's in the restroom? Hey, hey, test 1, 2, testing 1, 2. Test 1, 2, hey, hey. Test 1, 2, test 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, hey, hey. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Hey, hey. Test 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, hey, hey. Hey, hey. Well, I see it hitting it. Test 1, 2, hey, hey. All right. So it's getting there, and then we'll be able to, yeah, it should be coming back.
Check 1, 2, 3.
All right, and we hear
Check.
you.
Check. 1, 2, 3. Check.
I got you.
Check 1, 2, 3.
Can you hear me?
Check. 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 Check 1, 2, 3.
I don't think
Check 1, 2, 3.
Hey, hey.
1, 2, 3. No, but it's because Donna is muted. Oh, I see that. No.
Hey, hey. Test 1, 2. Yeah, everything back.
Use the
Check 1, 2. 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 1, 2. 1, 2, check.
Hey, can you hear me?
Check 1, 2. Check. Okay.
Test 1, 2. Hey. All right, so we're not getting no feedback now, so. Okay. Hey. No, we would hear I gotta engage, so.
Signal back.
No, I'm not. It's not coming through. I need OJ's belt pack though, so I don't know if you want to do that.
I'll go find
He's up there, but his mic's not gonna work right now.
Oh, he's right here. Huh? So you're not picking up that test tone coming out?
No, it wasn't coming through, but we were getting him, so something, she fixed the feedback issue, but we need to go back to whatever.
Yeah, I'll call you right now. If I could have your attention, please. We're actually going to be getting back on the agenda since I caused a delay. Excuse me. I'd like to introduce Jeff Zink. He's a candidate for Arizona District 3. He is going to talk to you for about 15 minutes, give an opening. If somebody has any questions, we'll go to a couple questions, and we'll give him like a few minutes to close. So with that, Mr. Zink, can you come on up?
Thank you, OJ. Hello, everybody. How are you all doing tonight? Or today, this afternoon? So one of the things that I want to jump right in is this. Some of the things that Native Americans always are asking about is, what will my congressman do for us and our tribes? Here's something that I need y'all to understand. If I go against Native American tribes, I go against my own family. A lot of people don't know this, but I have a sister-in-law that's 64% Kaw. I have a nephew that is 100% Navajo. I have Cherokee and Choctaw all in my family, and so I've always been raised with the understanding that Native Americans are very, very important, not only to my family, but to the history. The thing that's always been told to me by an uncle who I only knew as chief, that was part of the Cherokee Nation, was the fact of how history has unfairly vilified the natives, and how they marked history in such a way that was not as accurate as what we would, that we came to know. Our history is different. So the thing is that for myself, just like what was being told by OJ earlier, which is when you become a congressman, you don't just represent the Native Americans in your state, you actually represent all of them. So one of the things that I reached out early on in my last congressional race was a gentleman by the name of Dr. Vaughn Septien. And Dr. Septien and I have been working on trying to put businesses on Native American lands. And the thing is that by doing this, so one of the things that I've sat and listened to, and how do we handle water? One of the things that I want to get into is the water issue here. How about this? Let's start drilling on Native American lands. Let's have the control of the Native American tribes control this. We set on 500 years of water. This state does not have oil, but it does have water. Problem is that it's bream. Now the thing is that bream is the second most healthiest salt that you can ingest. How about this? Let's put desalination plants on there. Let's have the tribes control not only the water, but the salt that is now put into the United States and the world. These are things that we can do. These are solutions. The problem is that for so many years, we haven't had common sense in Washington, D.C. because it's not that common anymore. So one of the things that I want to do is start utilizing these businesses. One of the things that actually happened, which was, how many are sick and tired of all of the Pfizer Merck commercials that are bombarding us today? All right, and the thing is that you sit down and you take a look at and you go through all of these symptoms and stuff, and some people sit down and like my wife goes, I think I have that. And I sit and I go, honey, you don't have testicular cancer. And so we need to sit down and start looking at what is taking place. Why are the pharmaceutical companies bombarding us with all of these ads and things? You know, the thing is that the medicine man and woman that was part of our indigenous tribes, they were in a statue of honor. And people listened to them, and they helped them, and they healed them and stuff. The thing is that it was plant-based, it was natural, and they didn't have the side effects. You didn't have your hair fall out because you're taking this drug. So one of the things is that we need to sit down and start going back to our roots and having pharmaceutical companies. One of the things that Dr. Setyanen and I was working with was a pharmaceutical company that was plant-based, that was all holistic medicine back to the tribes, Native American tribes, and what they used, and Merck and Pfizer sued them into oblivion because they did not want this, because the thing is that they don't have the side effects when you use holistic medicine. We need to start looking at making sure that we start protecting the Native Americans, pharmaceutical companies, or the ways in which we bring the medicine back of our past, which is much more healthier. So these are things that are my concern. These are the things that I constantly are thinking about and a part of my family, and they're bringing it to me. So this is just a couple of areas. So I know I'm supposed to be given 15 minutes. I'm at 9:12 right now. But the thing is that how do I represent you in Washington, D.C. if I never allow you to ask questions so that I can represent you? So I now would love to be able to have people ask me questions in regards to what's taking place and what your concerns are, so that you can hear exactly how I address your concerns. So anybody have any questions whatsoever? There's a lady in the back there. Can we get a microphone back there to her? I can hear you.
Can you clarify what you mean by drilling on our reservations?
Okay, so the drilling that takes place is, especially with, we all know about oil drilling. But the thing is that the technology that we use in drilling is very similar to the same thing in water as well. The only difference is that it's going to be pipes that are more of an area that's not corrosive, so that the water that's pulled out won't clog so they don't have to continue re-drilling and because of the water and the bream that's coming up. It is a more sanitary area, and then the plants that are also built on Native American lands will be the thing that I'm talking with Dr. Setyanen over is that we have to have Native American first. Meaning that if somebody is qualified to do the construction, we're going to hire them. If they can run the plant, we're going to hire them. We're going to make sure that the Native American first agenda for these projects are put in. We're also going to have it where we can train people as well. So if somebody that doesn't have the skills but would like to have the skills, then we're going to partner with construction companies that will take on people that may not have the skills, but then they will train them, and by the time they get finished, they will have a skill that they can continue going on. We need to make sure that these things are what that individual would like to see. This is the part that I've been pushing. So does that kind of answer a little bit more clarification of your question with how it would be drilled and what would be taking place? So, okay, so clarify your question a little bit more then as to what you're meaning then.
Hi everyone.
I have to go.
Oh, all right. I guess next question, she had had a Zoom call come up. Any other questions that you may have? Yes, there's,
I just want to know what area your district covers, like which tribes are involved in trouble.
so mine is downtown South Phoenix and the Metroplex area there. It only touches part of the tribal just outside of Baseline in the 202 in the you'd think that I know it right now, and I'm drawing a blank, Auction tribe that's on the 202 and Baseline just outside of the 202. That's the only area that my district touches. So the thing is that I need everybody to also know that even though it's a very, very small amount, why I'm more concerned and why I'm so honored that I was even asked to be here to talk, because it gives me a chance to actually talk about my family and what's taking place and what I would do in that representation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to meet you this morning. Robert Stone from here in the community. The Colorado River Operating 2025 Pact is coming up for renewal. Everybody in the U.S. state tribes have been engaged already, but if elected and even as a citizen like us, we're all citizens, how would you work to protect the tribal water right agreements that are in effect now and other agreements that are being negotiated, because all the tribes want to keep their agreements and other tribes want to get agreements. So how would you work to make sure that we are covered and satisfied with that?
Absolutely. So the thing is that we need to stand up and be somebody that honors our word. Or, the way I was taught was my father said that your word was your bond, and that you needed to make sure that whatever you said, you did. We've made these treaties. While they may be coming up, that doesn't mean that they go away, that we need to make sure that we renegotiate or we just renew what we have. But the other is that because of our rural areas not having access to water, this is what led me to understand in talking with Dr. Setien in regards to making it where we can go out and do drilling so that we can provide those rural areas water, and they're not as dependent on the water themselves. They can actually become a source where they can then control and push out water to the other areas, and making sure that this is something that they can benefit from because it's on their land. So these are the ideas. We're still working that out, but unfortunately what ended up happening is that we had tribal councils that were squabbling back and forth on the older one, part of the first one we were putting together, and the whole thing fell through. So that's why when I brought Dr. Setien in, he's the ambassador for all of the Native American tribes for Canada, United States, and Mexico. He represents all of them, and so he's going to try to cut the red tape so that we can make this happen in a timely position, instead of always, well, there's always next year, and then nothing gets done. And I've been hearing that for most of my life from my family, that nothing ever gets done. Any other questions? Yes, sir. She's coming.
Good morning. My name is Dale Cinque, and I'm from the Hopi tribe. I serve on its council. My question is, what's your opinion of the settlement that was that's moving forward in up there at the hill on the settlement between the Navajo, Hopi, and Paiute tribe that is going to take 44,700 acre feet from the upper basin. How does that affect your region? And what is your opinion? Do you support it or don't support it? And why?
Okay? So one of the things is that as a U.S. congressman, it does affect me in the fact that I do have access to the sovereignty treaties of the past, of what's taking place. We need to make sure that we honor both tribes and making sure that their wishes are done. If they're not being done, what is it that is not agreeable? What do we need to do? We need to sit down and start looking at the needs of what each tribe is asking for so that we can actually get a clarification and see that middle ground, very much like what we're trying to do today. The problem is that if we get a middle ground, are they willing to concede both parts? So my deal is that, and especially working with Dr. Setien as closely as I have, that's one of his specialties, is going in and making sure that both tribes may not be happy with the full deal, but at least they're getting both of their wants and wishes together. So that's something that we want to do. If it's not a good deal for the Native American tribes that are there, then why are we doing it? And that's something that a lot of people go, well, we've already started this, what should we do? And that's one of the things that we need to look at, is making sure that your wants and needs as a tribe, how does that affect you? And are you better off by doing this or not doing this? And most of the time, it's the delays doesn't help anybody. So we need to have action. Okay?
So the Navajo and the Hopi and Southern Paiute have all agreed it was a real difficult negotiations, but it's now in Congress's hand. So we at our level have agreed, and we push this package forward, and it's going to be the members of Congress, whether you're going to support the deal or not. And I'm kind of surprised, one of the biggest things that people are talking about is the price tag. And you didn't bring that up.
No.
So I would appreciate, because you will have something to say about it when you're up there. You'll have a vote.
Yes.
And I would like to know if you support it or don't support it, because we've done our work down here. And we pushed it up to Congress. And Congress and the national government, federal government, has to do their work. And of course, we all came together where we would like for you to pass it. With everything that's in there, but we know that it's going to go work its way through there. And again, I'm asking, if you reach that level, will you support that bill? And I would please ask you to look into it, because it's a huge bill. And I would feel better if you contact me later after you learned about it and either said you support it for these reasons or you don't support it for these reasons. Thank you.
You bet. So very quickly, what I will do is I said, I will tell you the answer right now. I will support it, and the reason why is that if we can spend over $40 billion to a country that means absolutely nothing to us, we need to start spending and making America and Native America first agendas. We need to start spending money here at home and start taking care of our people instead of taking care of other people. This is what I'm sick of. So the price tag, the reason why I didn't bring it up, because it doesn't matter. It's for what the tribes are wanting and asking for, and we need to make sure that it happens. And so because of the follow-up question, you get a little bit more zeroed answer, and hopefully that's one that that did answer your question. You bet. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You bet.
And just so you know, the Coalition of Large Tribes also did a resolution in support of that water deal. And we sent it to all the congressional representatives within the Colt territory, so we're backing you. Next, I'd like to introduce, now I'm going to get this right, Daniel Gutierrez. Gutierrez. Okay. That's why they don't have me pronounce names. So please come on up, sir, and we look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and I want to thank everybody for having me. It's a true honor. I'm going to let you all know a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Tucson, Arizona. I'm a third-generation Arizonan. My great-grandfather came from Mexico in the 1800s. My grandfather was born in Salomon, Arizona in 1900. My dad was born in Pima in 1944. And I don't speak Spanish because of the way my dad was raised. He grew up in a Mormon town in Pima, Arizona, and they were beaten if they spoke Spanish in school, and they were told it was a dirty language. So when he had children, he didn't teach them it. So, but I'm now learning. Anyways, a little bit about who I am. I'm one of Arizona's wrongfully convicted. I spent approximately 9.5 years in prison for a crime that I didn't commit, and it took 30 years before the state finally admitted that I had never even been convicted of. So during that time, I walked a pretty hard road. So I've suffered great loss through my life. My children were taken from me. The mother of my children left me. I wound up running with guys I met in prison. I became hooked on drugs, homeless. I got violated. I was returned back to prison where I'd studied law. I gave my life over to Christ, and when I walked out, I surrounded myself with new people, new friends. I went to work for a company. I worked there for 10 years. I've worked my whole life as a blue-collar man. I left that company and I started my own company. I built Gutierrez Painting. After about 5-6 years, I turned around and bought the other company I was working for, so I own 2 companies. And I decided that there's a reason God put me down that road I walked, and that was to do what I'm doing right now, to help people. Now, I'm a man who cares about people. I'm not a politician. I never wanted to be a politician. I just know our community needs someone who cares about our community to step up, and I'm that man. No. I can tell you this about me. My 2 children that I lost both belong to the Tohono O'odham tribe. My son, who their mother and I had together, he's now running both my companies so that I can do this. My son, Robert Mendez, who's my stepson, he's working for Sun City. And those 2 boys both got hooked on fentanyl. And if any of you have ever had a child on fentanyl, it's a horrible thing. And thank God that my kids are off of it and doing great now. Robert works for Sun City and Del Webb over in Oro Valley near Tucson. And my daughter's in the United States Air Force. So I see a lot of parents suffering behind that. So my big passion is to put an end to these drugs coming across. And I I was over at the Paskiyaki tribe Saturday speaking to them, and I had someone come over and say, you know, you say you want to secure the border, and I said, yeah, and he said, well, why do you want to do that? And I said, because drugs are coming across and they're impacting all of us. I mean, they are impacting all of us. And he goes, well, it's a supply and demand situation. And I said, well, if you've ever had known someone that's been hooked to alcoholism and they want to get off that, what's the first thing you got to do? You've got to remove the alcohol from their life so that you can get them into recovery. Because if you get them to quit and you don't remove the alcohol, they'll come out and they'll wind up reusing it again. So we need to put treatment and remove the drug, the substance from their lives. So it's a big passion for me to deal with that. And then there's 900 homeless camps throughout the community. So now I'd like to give anybody time to ask me any questions, if anyone has any. Okay. Well, let me let you know what my district is that I'm running for. I'm running for CD7, which is from Douglas to Yuma, up into Phoenix. It's the whole southern district. I believe there's 7 tribes within CD7. At this point in time, I'm running against Raul Grijalva, and I know you all know him. He's been a good friend to the tribes. He hasn't been able to go to any debates with me, and we haven't been able to have a conversation because he's ill right now. And he hasn't represented us since February, so anyways. But that being said, if there's no questions. All right.
I want to ask you a question about why doesn't any of the representatives here in Arizona or do anything about, since we're here about the vote, a lot of people that have made mistakes, like, been in trouble, incarcerated and whatnot, they're unable to vote because your criminal record will follow you through here in the state of Arizona.
Yep.
That I know of. So, I'd like, why someone can't do anything about that?
Actually, that's a beautiful question. I actually have packets that I keep with me, and I help people get their rights back because attorneys want a ridiculous amount of money to help someone fill out an application and simple fill in the blank. The other thing, in the state, and by the way, I studied law while I was in prison. So the other thing is, if it's a first-time felony in the state of Arizona, the minute you complete your sentence, your rights to vote are reinstated. However, your gun rights you have to apply for. Right. If it's only one felony, your rights to vote are automatically reinstated. All you got to do is register.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
I know that voter reform is a mixed bag in the sense that there's conservatives that talk about voter reform, and then we're talking about voter reform in terms of increasing the rights of people of color to vote, right? Like creating more access. So where do you fit on that?
On voter access?
Right, voter access and allowing everybody to vote.
I want everyone to vote. As a matter of fact, there's a radio ad that they had me put out that your voice is, your voice matters. Everyone's voice matters, and what I want is everyone to get informed and everyone to vote. So I was a little confused about the rights, because both my kids belong to the tribe, the Tohono O'odham tribe, and they vote. So, any more questions?
you were talking about the homeless in your district. What is your solution to that issue?
Yeah. My issue, well, just so you know,
So what are the steps, or what do you think?
I'm thinking what we need to do, I don't know if you remember, but many years ago, probably back when I was a kid, people would get in trouble, they'd go before a judge, and the judge would give them two options. They'd say, either you can go to jail, or you can join the Army. And most of them joined the Army. We need to bring something like that, because when I went through my stuff, I had a mother, and this is why I'm very passionate about it, because I'm a father that had two sons that were addicted. My mother had a son that was addicted, and it's a horrible thing for a mother. And when I was homeless for about 2.5 years, so I overcame all that to become who I am, and I want to help others to do that. So I know that we have to do a similar thing, and just about every homeless out there is breaking the law. If you're driving down Tucson, and you pass a bus stop, they're sitting there smoking their fentanyl right at the bus stop. I mean, it's everywhere. It's against the law. We need to enforce the laws that they're breaking. We need to get them into the jail or before a judge, and the judge needs to give an option. You can sit here until you go to court, or you can enter this program. I've got a program and an idea worked out. I've already talked to Ed Honey, the mayor of Marina. There's a prison there that's been emptied, and it's a perfect place to turn into a rehab. We have 150 rehabs across Arizona, and we are funding them with billions of dollars. And let me tell you something, both my boys have walked into those rehabs, spent the night there, cost taxpayers $8,000, and they walk out the next day. And this is happening all across Arizona with countless people that are hooked on drugs that just want a place to sleep and eat a meal, and they leave the next day, and it costs us a lot of money. The program I want to do is a mandatory program. You either do your time in jail or you go to this program. In the program, we detox them and then we put them to work. In my company last summer, I hired 67 homeless people and put them all to work. 15 of them returned to drugs and went on their way. The rest of them are now working for other companies, and they got their lives back. So it's not just a passion, something I speak of with passion. It's something I'm actually working to improve. So, no. Any more questions? Okay. Well, again, I want to thank you all for having me here. It's been a real honor. And if you have any questions, you can get a hold of me. And if you all go to my webpage, you can get a card from us. We have some cards, and you can read my story and the judge's rulings there and everything. So, and my phone number's on there too. So, thank you.
Alright, gymadaban Steven Yabhamol, Licio Ortega, Mapipanya Newman, Yatsnihaps, Gaman Squatzan, Hanip Shramul, Nahar. I don't normally come in and introduce myself at the very end, but OJ had to go off to another item right now, so I wanted to just give one more round of applause for the candidates that showed up today to talk about how they'll support Indian country and our issues. Lunch will be served in the meal room adjacent to this room here, and then we'll reconvene after lunch for the rest of our agenda today. Yecha.